I'm Alfred Stanley, and I am your host for technical purposes at the swearing in today of Rebecca Bell-Metereau. And I'm going to introduce our first speaker, my good friend, Cecile Richards.
I'm incredibly honored to get to be part of this today. And congratulations, Rebecca. I know that this has been a long journey to join the State Board of Education. And of course, it's coming at such an incredibly important moment. And I just have to say to Alfred Stanley, who I have known many, many years from back in the days when he allowed me to be the volunteer phone bank captain for Roger Duncan. I know that his commitment to electing good people to office is legendary, and his commitment to public education as well. In fact, I remember, Alfred, when you were the chair of the PTA at Cecile Elementary. So thank you for continuing your efforts to ensure that the public schools of Texas prepare our kids for the future. I know that everyone on this call knows Rebecca's incredible resume and her commitment to public service, starting out early in the Peace Corps and continuing on as an author, as an educator, and as a community volunteer. I'm so glad that you have chosen to use your time and energy to participate in the State Board of Education, which is, again, it's a board that has such an influence over not only our children in Texas, but children all across the country in terms of textbook adoption, in terms of curriculum, and your voice and your leadership is incredibly important. I have my own history with the State Board of Education. Really started 25 years ago when I went to my first state board meeting, which for some of you who are on this call may remember, there were two incredible public servants, Patsy Johnson and Mary Perkins from East Texas, long-term public school advocates who were defeated in a really nasty political election. Actually, the same year Mom was defeated in her re-election campaign. But it was the first time we really saw this sort of anti-public school, anti-public education kind of campaign launched. And it was a wake-up call for so many of us. And I remember attending my first State Board of Education meeting and really was incredulous at the controversies, whether it was textbook adoption or even just the importance of public schools. And that was actually led to the founding of the Texas Freedom Network, which has now been up and going for 25 years. I'm now being led by the incomparable Val Benavides. But I think the importance of fighting to protect public school funding, to ensure that our curriculum, that our teachers, that our students are supported, that we don't divert money from the important public education system to private schools and vouchers, is just continue to be incredibly important. So, and one of the people that I got to know on this journey, of course, was Donna Howard, who herself has been active in the area of public education for her entire lifetime. And not, I mean, in so many ways. And so it means so much that she's on this call as well, and is, I think, going to administer the oath of office. There's just no way to overstate how important the state board is, and Rebecca, how important your leadership will be, your voice, your experience. And I think it's coming again at a time in this country where making sure that our kids have not only honest information, truthful information, whether it's about science or the environment, but also a full understanding of not only our history, but of the important issues that we need to continue to deal with in the future. So welcome, Rebecca. Thank you. We're all here to celebrate you today, but as importantly, to support you in these important years ahead. So thanks for your service. And Donna, Representative Howard, thank you for your unbelievable leadership on so many issues, and excited to get to witness this.
First, thank you, Cecile, for your fabulous words. I could never say anything as well as you just did. You summed up exactly Rebecca Bell-Metereau and why we're all so excited to be here today. But before we get going, we do want to recognize a couple of important guests that are with us today. So first is our own Congressman Lloyd Doggett, who has been there by Rebecca's side the whole time. And I think we have a special message.
Greetings from Washington, though I hope to be home real soon. What an amazing week it has been, but it ends with the triumph of democracy over tyranny and insurrection. Accountability will follow. And today, with the celebration and the hope offered by a powerful new voice for public education in our state. Rebecca, the third time really has been the charm, and I admire and thank you for your determination, your persistence, and your commitment. I think you weren't just running against various Republican candidates, but against Republican gerrymandered districts, something I have a little unwanted expertise in. And thank you for hanging in there. With a new day for America coming in less than 2 weeks, we have hope for renewed respect for science over ideology, for telling the complete history of our country, including the contributions of people of color despite decades of discrimination and violence against them. I wish you the very best and congratulate you on this tremendous success for you and for all of us. All the best.
We do have, though, another special guest that we want to recognize who is actually with us and will hopefully be able to be heard. And that is the wonderful Judy Jennings, who I had the great honor of introducing both Rebecca and Judy when they decided to run for State Board of Education in 2009, I guess it was. And Judy ran several times, and we are all so thrilled for all she has done to contribute to public education in our state. So Judy, we want you to say a few words too.
Well, thank you, Representative. This has been a huge group effort. I remember first walking into Alfred Stanley's office in 2008 and saying, this Cynthia Dunbar person is on the State Board of Education. She has called public education a subtly deceptive tool of perversion. This can't stand. I want to run against her, and we need to do something about it. And since then, Alfred and Rebecca and all of you have put in the work. Rebecca has worked incredibly hard, and I am just thrilled that finally the State Board of Education is looking more like educators, looking more like the people who should be in bearing the responsibility for the education of over 5 million children in the state of Texas. And I say congratulations, Rebecca, and I am here to support you in any way possible. And I'm thrilled with the job that all of you have done. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. We're so glad that you're here to witness this historic occasion, actually. I'm going to say a few things, Rebecca, and then we're going to get to the oath and let you then say some things. But just wanted to take this occasion to kind of go down memory lane for a second. Cecile did that quite well and reminded us, those of us that have been doing this for a while, how long we've been working on this. And it's really kind of amazing when we look back on it. I do remember visiting with Cecile back when TFN was starting, and we were looking in my school district about what was happening and the so-called right wing trying to target the school boards to take them over and to dictate what was going to be in our textbooks. And that I served on the Eanes School Board for one term there. And then when I did not return to that school board, I looked at the State Board of Education, and I had been like Cecile going over and testifying about things, and had the opportunity to run for State Board of Education when we had a very good representative for Travis County, Will Davis, who stepped down then. I ran in 2000 and lost. Then redistricting happened and they split Travis County in half. And we ended up having districts 5 and 10. I ran then and lost again. So I did not run again. I only did 2 races. Judy did 3. And then now we have Rebecca, who actually ran 4 times and successfully won this seat finally after all these years of all of us doing this. And let me tell you, this is many counties. It's in a race that for a long time people did not pay much attention to. And you travel all over those counties, putting up signs, talking to people. It is a huge task. And yet Rebecca persisted. She did it over and over again. And finally, after all she worked on, she got over that finish line. And we are so grateful for everything that, like Cecile pointed out and Judy pointed out. This is so critical. And of course, right now with COVID and how this is impacting the public education of the students of our state, we need people who are going to pay attention to rational, reasonable policies that are science-based and that will help us move forward with the public education of our students, because that's the future of our state. And I know that with Rebecca there, we're going to be in good hands. We are so grateful to you, Rebecca, for all that you've done, for how you've persisted. And we want to be there as your partners as you move forward. So without any further ado, I think we're ready to do the oath of office if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Okay, well, I'm going to break this up into several small bits for you to repeat after me. Are you ready then now? Okay,
I'm ready.
here we go. I, Rebecca Bell-Metereau.
I, Rebecca Bell-Metereau.
We're going to hold our hands.
I, Rebecca Bell-Metereau,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of member of the Texas State Board of Education for District 5
member of the Texas State Board of Education for District 5
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations to the new State Board of Education member for District 5.
Thank you. I am practically speechless, which doesn't often happen to me, but I want to thank Alfred for helping me for all of these years. I know that Congressman Doggett is probably not with us right now, but I thank him so much. He has been at every meeting that he attends. He knows so many people. He recognizes every politician in the room, and I don't know how he manages to do it, but he has been an encouragement the whole time. And I am grateful for his service. I want to thank Donna for being our champion from the beginning. I want to thank Judy for being a partner with me. We cheered each other on, we complained, I couldn't have done it without her. I couldn't have gotten the start without her. I want to thank Cecile Richards for making such an important organization highlight the issue of education in Texas and alert the whole country to the problems that we were having in Texas with education. And I want to thank Stephen Apodaca, who has been a volunteer since the beginning of this campaign and done amazing work helping me with Zooms. I don't even know how many Zooms, countless. And the people who are volunteers, there are so many, but Bob Westfall, who's a Republican, helping deliver signs all over my 13 counties. He, again, not a paid person, a volunteer. Ray Jacobson, who delivered our second daughter, Thea, a retired physician, pediatrician, and gynecologist, and he delivered signs all over Hayes County. So there have been so many people who have helped. I can't name them all, but I just want to recognize all of the clubs, all of the people, all of the donors, and the amazing people who've advised me, helped me fill in the gaps, pointed out where I was making mistakes. I want coaches. And in this office, I will seriously seek to find common ground with every member of the State Board of Education. I attended all of their meetings in November and then a training, and got to know our three other new members and our chair. And I'm very excited about this board. I think everyone has a good heart and amazing talents. And it looks like I have a kitty cat that has sneaked into the room. I don't know if that's a sign that I should wrap it up, but I feel like education is the most important issue, even though we have all of these other things that seem so vital right now, but they all go back to education. Our response to COVID, if people are educated and understand the science, we can take control of the situation. The vaccine that was developed came from the education of the researchers who developed it. The people willing to do those studies were educated to understand the importance of volunteering. So we have a moment here in Texas where we can make incredible movements forward, or we can fight. And I would much rather form a team on the State Board of Education so that we're all fighting for common goals. We're not going to agree on everything. I don't expect everybody to agree on everything. The different viewpoints that we have will contribute to a better answer to the problems that we will be solving. I want to be sure that our children in Texas have access to the internet. And I'm hoping that we can encourage the legislature to pass laws that will provide a kind of digital New Deal so that students who are out in rural areas and in inner city areas, all of them have equal access to internet that works, because for a while now, we're going to have to rely on that. And we will probably rely on it into the future in a way that we never have before. The experience of COVID has changed our minds. We also want to focus on vocational education, because we're going to have to train a whole new bunch of people in new skills for sustainable energy, sustainable jobs, and make sure that we do not leave anyone behind. And that includes students with learning disabilities, students who live in places that don't have the funding and support that they need. And that will be one of my goals, to make sure we have a curriculum that includes everyone. Finally, as a teacher, I am so sympathetic to what is going on with our public schools, because in the spring of 2020, I had to adapt in the middle of the spring to teaching online. So I know what they're going through, and I understand how it's hard for teachers, it's hard for students. And I have ideas about how the State Board of Education can support those teachers and support those schools and parents. And this is an important part of my task on the State Board of Education, is to never forget how it is for those teachers in the classroom and for those children. My two girls were raised and educated in public schools in Texas. So I know what it is like when it's high stakes testing time. And I'm hoping that we can address that issue and make sure that their education is meaningful, and also that we look at the mental health of our students and teachers, our whole society, and that's part of our educational curriculum to make sure that people have resiliency and coping skills and understand how to use research, science, and rational critical thinking to address problems and overcome the kind of fear and anxiety that we've all experienced. So I would just like once again to thank everyone for the amazing support that I've received, and invite everyone to get in touch with me. If you have an idea, if you have a problem, if you have a complaint, if there's anything that you think will help education in Texas, because I am really here to represent everybody in Texas. And that means young and old, Republican and Democrat, and people who aren't political in any direction, Libertarian, Green Party. I want to hear all of the voices, and I want the diversity of Texas to be our strength, and education to be the tool that we use to be the best state in education in every aspect. And I pledge once again, as I did under oath, that I will do the best of my ability to promote education and uphold our state and our United States Constitution and laws, and move forward and truly represent the state of Texas. Thank you.